I think Portland should just close up shop if they trade Damian Lillard. They should just stop ceasing as a franchise. I mean, you've got an all-time great, and you should be able to build around him. He doesn't want out. You need to have him there. The fan base loves him, rightfully so. He's one of theirs because they drafted him, and he's been there. If they can't win with him, I mean, how do you just get rid of him? I mean, you have to build around him, and you can't tell your fan base, "Hey, look, come see Chris Middleton." Well, I mean, honestly, I mean, who would you get back? I think you'd have to close up shop. You should just move to Seattle. Just move to Seattle and say we're done here. I mean, I can't imagine they'd do that, Ben. But and I appreciate the call. Thank you. Call back. I think it's an interesting idea. Maybe one spot just becomes the location of all the guys who need the help and can't get it in their franchise. Why can't Milwaukee just send Giannis to Portland? You know what I mean?
That would be
why Milwaukee?
More likely.
Because you're not going to trade Giannis? I mean, Giannis, and then who else could be the third man in? Who needs out to get their spot? Zion? Right?
At some point.
Zion is that. We're already talking about Zion as that guy. Get him out of New Orleans. You should put him in Madison Square Garden.
Interesting note
Who's the third one in?
Interesting note about Giannis, Rich. Remember if we were talking about if the Clippers kind of blew this and lost to Dallas, that Pat Riley would be on the phone with him already, and he'd probably be on his way out of L.A., right? If the Bucks get swept by Brooklyn, they lose tonight and lose over the weekend, and that's a wrap.
Right.
Are we going to start having these conversations about Giannis wanting out?
Let me ask you this.
That's another year in a row. That's back-to-back years.
Maybe
as the favorites or as a high seed.
Jalen Rose is saying yesterday, Giannis doesn't make a shot outside the paint.
But he's a two-time MVP.
I understand that. Great. Tom Thibodeau is one of the best regular season coaches we've seen. He just won Coach of the Year, right? Get to the playoffs, ask a Bulls fan if the Knicks in the playoffs this year looked familiar to you. Ask anybody who's a Bulls fan with Thibodeau. Great regular season, postseason? Yeah, it didn't look the same. Maybe it could be an unfair accusation this year that he ran them too deep into the boards, into the ground. Into the court, whatever you want to call it.
I mean, the Knicks massively overachieved. I mean, they were only predicted to win 20-ish games.
All I'm saying is this, Chris. At some point, maybe it's the player.
So are you saying...
I'm doubling down on my worst take in the history of this show.
Okay. Are you saying that Giannis can't be the best player on a championship team?
I'm not saying that he can't be a best player on a championship team, but I mean, what's better? He'd have to team up with somebody else, is what you're already saying.
But he has teamed up. Milwaukee has built this team around him.
With who?
With Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton.
Would you even put those guys in the same category as Paul George, who's the one that Kawhi has teamed up with?
No, but this is who they have constructed around him.
I understand that.
Giannis probably told them, hey, get me some help or I'm going to bolt. And this is who they got.
They got him some help. Right.
And they're a very good team.
So who's going to
be... But why are they getting waxed?
Well, Giannis is going to maybe have to do what Kawhi did, which is just call somebody up and say, come here. Bust up somebody else's marriage and say, come here. And Paul George did that for Kawhi out of Oklahoma City. I don't know.
So what do you package Middleton and some guys around?
But who does that net you?
What if it nets you Dame Lillard?
Do you think Portland would really make a move like that?
It's not going to matter if Dame says I want out.
But he's not. He hasn't.
We don't know that.
Dame said a few weeks ago that he has no interest in leaving Portland.
Why would he do that?
Great. Kyrie Irving said he wanted his number in the rafters in Boston. Guys change their mind at the drop of a hat in the league. We've seen that.
If Portland trades away Damian Lillard, they should just hand in their card. Just hand in their card to the NBA and say, we can't do it here. Honestly. Like, you have to try. I mean, you can't just trade him. I mean, if he says he wants out, then obviously that's a different situation.
Who are they beating? Portland can't get out of the first round.
I don't know what to tell you, Chris. I don't know what the answer is. It's not like nobody will go to Portland. It's a beautiful city. Fan base is insane. Fan base is locked in. That's it. That's the only game in town. Literally. On the professional sports level.
I get it.
So
I've been there. It's awesome. I love their fans.
So what are we arguing
We love
here?
Dame.
What are we arguing here? That the Blazers should trade away Damian Lillard to Milwaukee? Why don't the Bucks trade away Giannis to Portland? Team him up with Damian Lillard. So Portland. So
I'm all for that too.
So he doesn't have to take a shot outside the paint. Let him do what he's got to do.
I would like to see one of these two guys win a championship, but on their current teams, they're never going to win.
Well, it's because the rest of the league is teaming up with each other. Unless Phoenix Suns the rescue. Unless the Jazz. Maybe that's the equation this year. Bursting through. That's your variant. You know what I mean?
We are going to see a new champion this year, but
I know that, but
it's most likely going to be a super team.
I hope not, man. And I say that as a native New Yorker, and it would be great to see a parade in Brooklyn and all the Knicks fans who are so thirsty, all you thirsty Knicks fans out there who can't quit your schmecky owner because it's the right thing to do, and you refuse to take a bus or a train or a courtesy car across the Brooklyn Bridge to the Barclays Center. It's not that deep into Brooklyn. Like literally, you're not going to JFK Airport. It's not a long trip. And you could see some of the best basketball in New York City maybe one of the best basketball teams New York City's ever seen. Fact. It would delight me, but it would also delight me to see a team like Utah or a team like the Suns. Yeah, there's no super team. It's just an excellent player at the top of his Hall of Fame game, getting all the people around him so he could finally have his moment. For a coach of the year that won coach of the year based on his peers, not by any other vote, Monty Williams, right? And then you've got the Utah Jazz. Donovan Mitchell, who's becoming a superstar of his own with a terrific supporting cast and a Hall of Fame new owner, part of the ownership group that's pissing off T.J. Jefferson.
3-time defensive player of the year.
You know what I mean? Like, that would be great. Your Sixers even. You know, people would say, well, Embiid and Simmons is kind of a super team combination.
But they were both drafted.
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah, exactly.
Different story.
Yeah.
They were both acquired
through legal means. Trust the process.
Hey, Ben from Mississippi started an interesting conversation. I kind of shut him down. Like, I mean, Portland really. If Lillard says I want to stay and they trade him, they should just call Adam Silver up and say, take us to Seattle, get us out of here. Because the Blazers fans would absolutely say, why'd you do that? Keep going. Maybe the coach is the right change. Despite Terry Stotts being beloved.
But he's been
mostly.
there for 9 seasons.
I know that. Maybe that's the right change.
It is the right change, but they need a superstar. It's who's going to go there and who wants to go there. I don't know who that is. I mean, if they had Giannis, they're big-time players in the West, but...
Well, why would the Bucks do that? Then the Bucks could just hand in that card, too.
Right.
If Giannis wants to stay. If these guys want to go, it's a totally different story now. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.